here it is. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Board of Health meeting for Wednesday, February the 15th. Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Approval of the minutes of December 21st.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of December 21st, 2016 regular meeting.
I second that.
Motion been made and seconded. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Correspondence. Letter from the Executive Office of Health and Human Services, Department of Children and Families. Mr. Crowe, if you want to read that, please.
This comes to us from the Executive Office of Health and Human Services, Department of Children and Families. Dear neighbor, there are approximately 9,000 children in Massachusetts who are residing in out-of-home placements such as foster homes, group homes, and residential schools. The Department of Children and Families has been committed to a policy of making permanent plans for children in such substitute care settings. I'm getting Tom's cold. Chapter 197 was signed into law to further enhance the permanency planning policy. The law requires that case review meetings be conducted by a three-person panel. The purpose of the case review meeting is to determine whether the child's continued placement outside the home is necessary, safe, and appropriate, and to review a plan for the family's future. Volunteer case reviewers will receive training, ongoing support, a stipend, and will be asked to participate in at least one case review per month for 1 year. I am reaching out to your community in the hope that some of you will become involved in reviewing the plans of the children in your area who are in foster homes and other residential programs. We presently have a need for volunteer case reviewers in your area and would greatly appreciate you spreading the word. This volunteer coordinator of the Southeast Region, Doreen Gall, can be reached at 617-748-2223.
Thank you. If anyone's interested, this information will be here in the Board of Health office, Board of Selectmen. Just let us know. The next piece of correspondence is from the Yukon Health Impact of Stress on the Health of Community Workers. The University of Connecticut, and I don't see which campus, but anyhow, the University of Connecticut is recruiting volunteers for a research study. Quote, knowledge is not enough, work stress in community health workers. Unquote. This research seeks to gain a better understanding of the nature of community health work and its impact on the health beliefs and health behaviors of CHWs, community health workers. Of particular interest is the impact of work stress on the health of community health workers. Participants should meet the following criteria: be 18 years or older, have the job title of community health worker, complementary health care worker, community health advisor, community outreach worker, community health representative, promotores de salud, health promoter / promoters, patient navigator, navigator promoters, navegadores para pacientes, peer health advisor or lay health advisor. Be employed by a local health department, doctor's office, accountable care organization, federal qualified health center or nonprofit organization. Have worked as community health workers for at least 6 consecutive months. Work in an urban area, rural area, suburban area, or medically underserved area. Be English proficient speaking and writing. Participation will involve completing an online survey. Results will be kept strictly confidential. All participants will be eligible to be entered into a raffle to win one of 50 $10 gift cards. This study is being conducted by Nicholas Warren, Doctor of Science, Principal Investigator. For further information about this research study, please contact the Division of Public Health and Population Science and ask to speak to Dr. Nicholas Warren. If you are interested in participating in this research study, please call area code 860-995-9438 or email Brinkley, BRINKLEY @uchc.edu. So if anyone's interested in this, participating in this study, just get in touch with either the Board of Health or the Selectman's office, and this information will be available. This one is just strictly, it looks like a one-shot deal, and you fill out a survey online. And the last piece of correspondence is the Tobacco 21 movement. Mr. Cronin.
This was an email that came to the Board of Health, and it's addressed to the health agents and boards of health. The Tobacco 21 movement now has 143 towns and 61% of the state's population. Your region has been silent. Will you be willing to share your vital voice to help save 223,000 children as a bill takes 5 more months to wind through the House and Senate with no assurance of passing? I am available to help. This is a Dr. Lester Hartman, who was with us a couple years ago, maybe 3 years ago. This movement here, Tobacco 21, was to get all the 351 towns in the state of Massachusetts, cities and towns, to vote to raise the smoking age up to 21. And according to the latest statistics, February 12th, 61% of all those communities have raised their tobacco purchasing age to 21. For those that remember when they came to our meetings a couple times, Dayton did not go to the 21 age, simply for the sake of a few family-owned businesses in town that would drive the people kind of out of here and into Somerset, Berkeley, Rehoboth, Swansea to buy their cigarettes. When I say the kids, 18 and up. So we did not participate in it, and to this date we haven't yet either.
I think Marilyn Edge has mentioned this a few times. Next item is announcements. The Board of Health has received complaints about dog owners not cleaning up after their dogs. Please be considerate of your neighbors and town property and carry a bag that can be used for cleanup of animal waste. This is a public health issue. Please keep our community clean. Burning season is on now through May 1st. Permits may be obtained at the Dayton Fire Station, 300 Main Street. Cost of $10, checks only, made payable to the town of Dayton. The winter parking ban continues through April the 1st. No parking is allowed on any street during this time, and it is enforced. And it can get very expensive, so please heed the parking ban. And the Dayton Food Bank distribution will be the lower level of Town Hall this coming Saturday, February 18th, from 8:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. Do we have any old business?
I do not believe so.
Do we have any new business?
Let me check. I do not believe so as well. No.
Every monkey business.
There'll be none of that. Next item is inspectors' reports. Mr. Aguirre, the building commissioner, is with us. Jim, you'd like to?
Sure. Good evening, Board. Good evening, Dayton. Now, before I start, I'd like to say that normally I come up here full of vim and vigor, but in the wake of the recent stardom by Highway Superintendent and our Highway Department, I'm not sure if I'm worthy. For those of you who
Tom
don't
was
know,
sick tonight.
he's been on several news stations and as far as Maine and California, so he's definitely reaching across the country. But in any event, the reason I want to speak to you tonight is specifically about chimney safety. We've had a rash of chimney fires since this season started. Too many to count. Actually, there's been about 5. The reason for most of these chimney fires is lack of maintenance. So the attention I want to bring tonight to everyone at home is it's important to get your chimney cleaned at least once a year. Your life certainly isn't worth the cost. The seasons have warranted excessive use of wood, and if chimneys aren't clean, the creosote can build up, obviously causing a fire. Our fire department has done a phenomenal job of getting there quickly and keeping property loss down to a minimum. But it's your responsibility as homeowners to make sure you take care of your chimneys. My department does its job when we're notified to make sure that wood stoves are installed properly, inspected, and all of the sort. But it's up to you at home to make sure you maintain them. Fortunately, we haven't had any loss of life, and we haven't had any large loss of property. But with the number of chimney fires that we're having, it's only a matter of time. And I'd just like to make sure everyone at home knows that you can prevent it. There's also been a couple of issues with installations of wood stoves, installations that my office is not aware of. So, you know, although I proclaim on many occasions that I'm not here to get in the way, but I am here for a reason, and I'm here to help. So if you think there's an issue with your wood stove or the installation, call a technician, have them look at it, and by all means, if I need to intervene, I will. And if you're thinking about changing a stove or installing a new one, call my office, get the permit and do it properly. That way here, everybody's got a fighting chance. So, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
I actually received a phone call this afternoon from somebody named Kevin. Not our Kevin. Who said he was from a chimney cleaning company, and we just happened to be in the neighborhood, and I thought, whoops.
Yeah.
And we're having a special, and we were wondering if you'd like to have your chimney cleaned, and I said, we clean our chimneys in the summertime. As a matter of fact, obviously, if you haven't cleaned it for a while, you need to get it done as soon as possible, but if you're like us, if you schedule it in the summertime, the prices are a lot better than if you wait till winter time. Because first of all, there's usually not a backlog, and we just use a gentleman from Taunton. He's been doing it for a few years for us now. But the other thing is, if in cleaning the chimney they find anything wrong, and it's summertime, you get time to get it fixed. You don't want to find out in the heating season that your chimney is unsafe or whatever. And we're fortunate in that we have a fireplace, and the wood stove is connected to that, and our furnace and hot water is connected to a separate chimney. So it's really only one chimney that we deal with as far as cleaning. We've had the other one checked, but with gas heat there's no creosote residue like you get from wood. So if you get any phone calls, you know, we're having a special, we're in the neighborhood, all I would say to you is, don't do it. Hire somebody local and somebody that's reputable.
That's an excellent point, Selectman Goulart. So use the Better Business Bureau or some of the internet sites that do background checks on contractors. And in the case of the summertime, that would be what we call preventative maintenance, which would eliminate any of the issues that come on and eliminate the backlog. You won't get a chimney sweep today. This is in season, so that's good advice. Thank you.
Welcome. And we have an inspector's report from our Health Inspector, Kevin Bernardo.
I just have some information for you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Board. I'm working on my first round of inspections. As you all know, each food establishment is inspected twice a year. So for 2017, I'll do the first round. I should end around June 30th. But I would like to discuss some of the issues that I've seen at the temporary food events. When I've gone to a few of these events, I've seen establishments that are not permitted. And I just wanted to share some information that each establishment needs to go ahead with their permit, or to go ahead with their event. Each temporary food establishment must complete an application, have liability insurance, of course submit a payment for that permit, have proper certification if they're going to do any food preparation. So that'd be the Food Safety Manager certification and Allergy Awareness certification. Each establishment is required to post that permit and, of course, comply with all regulations of the food code. Proper labeling and of ingredients is also required, and, of course, they have to declare any allergens. What you have in front of you is something I got from the Food Protection Program, and if you go to page 4, the second paragraph, and I'll just read it. A lot of times we get questions regarding why do I have to get a permit and so forth. So I'll just read real quick. Temporary food events present a challenge to the sanitarian. Temporary food events may operate either indoors or outdoors and often have limited physical and sanitary facilities available. Certain organizations may also presume that they are exempt from local Board of Health regulations because they're nonprofit status. Nonprofit organizations are not exempt unless they distribute the food for free or at cost. An event that is advertised with flyers, banners, newspapers, articles, radio, and TV announcements, or by other means, is considered a public event and is subject to the health code requirements and regulatory authority. Private events for members only that are not advertised might not be considered public events by the regulatory agency. And they said the word might, so I guess it's under the discretion of the local Board of Health. This has some good information in here, and I would recommend that we kind of tailor this down, put some bullet points, and if an establishment's going to have a temporary food event, with their application, we just give them some of this information that's in here.
Mm-hmm.
Our main goal, of course, is to, well, we want individuals to have their events. We just want to make sure it's in a safe manner, and of course, we have no foodborne illness situations. That's all I have.
So we should prepare a document
Yeah, I can actually,
highlighting.
yeah, if the board would like, I could kind of work on something and then submit it to the board for their approval.
Okay, and then we can have Ross. The only thing we have right now is the directive that came out on December the 14th, which
And
is just
that's an excellent tool right
It's
there.
just a one-page overview. But some of these topics that you've covered, and this is public information. I was at an event over the weekend, and I had asked Kevin to inspect it. I was there on Friday night, and as I walked in the door, I found a violation. When I brought it to the attention of the person who had the table, they informed me that they were covered under the liability insurance of the organization from whom they rented table space. That is not the case. The other, on Saturday, Kevin, I met Kevin down there. He was there when I walked into a bake sale. And we have specific guidelines for bake sales, and the bake sale that was taking place was in compliance. And all of the food was wrapped or covered. The people who were selling the baked goods were, let me say, properly attired as far as something covering their hair, and they had gloves, even though the food was all covered and wrapped. They had posted a sign that the food had not been had been baked at other locations, had not been inspected by the Dayton Board of Health. And also there was a sign posted warning the public of the potential for allergens. So all of that was good. However, out on the floor, there were other violations other than the one I found, and Mr. Bernardo took care of that. I want to make people aware, when we say food products, you must have a permit, we are talking about anything you can consume, not just cookies and cakes and pies and hamburgers. Candy that's individually wrapped, popcorn, cookies, anything like that, anything consumable. Or, for example, some people mix flour and sugar and cocoa and other ingredients and put it in a mason jar and sell it as brownie mix. That also comes under it because it is a consumable, or it will eventually be. So these are very important issues. Anyone renting table space at an event in Dayton where there's going to be crafts, a flea market, some other similar event, unless the proceeds from your sales are going directly to the organization that is sponsoring this, you must have a food permit. And I recommend that you apply at least 2 weeks in advance of the date of the event. We will provide additional guidelines for organizations in town, public, church groups, whatever, just so they're aware. And the other thing I will say is that not only are vendors out on the floor, not covered by the liability insurance of the agency or group that is having the sale or the event, they are not covered under the food permit for that organization either, because I was told that. Some people were concerned that the town of Dayton has special rules. We don't. I was told the town of Dayton is too strict. We aren't. We do enforce the rules. We don't want anyone to get sick. We don't want anyone to get sued. We don't want anyone to get injured, and we don't want the town to have a liability because we didn't do our jobs. So all of this information that Mr. Bernardo mentioned will be available in Town Hall. The CMRs for the Board of Health have been posted on the town's website, thanks to Mr. Zagrafis. And if anyone has any questions about anything relating to food or food products that you might be thinking about preparing for an event, just give us a call and we can give you the guidelines. But I just want everyone to know, we treat everyone fairly, whether it's the sponsoring organization that must be licensed, permitted, must have liability insurance, must name the town of Dayton as an also insured. We require that of everyone. We don't pick on people. We're not tougher than any other community, but I will say, we do enforce the regulations, and it's to protect the public and to protect public health. So again, if anyone has questions, we have information. Our inspectors are readily available, and you can certainly call and say, I need to talk to an inspector because I've got a specific question about a specific type of situation, and we will get the information to you. You will be able to speak to an inspector. Do you have anything else?
No. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Public input, no public.
Mr.
Public, go ahead.
I just wanted to thank you for catching that. I think, if something happened, it would have been
I think-
not a good thing. And the fact that the town has adopted these regulations we're obligated to enforce them. It's actually an obligation. We would be responsible if we turned a blind eye, and that's why we don't. So I thank you for that.
I think Kevin and I were both very
And you too,
surprised
yes.
at one particular instant. The other infractions were minor, and they involved candy, but both of the vendors removed the candy products from their table, and they had plenty of other products that they could sell, so it's not like in those two instances that involved candy that there was they had to close up shop. That was not the case. But I think we don't announce all the food recalls like we used to. I don't know where they are, but we will check into that, just in case anyone's interested, but,
I get them daily.
do you? They used to come in here, and
Want me to
if,
forward them?
it would be good, so that we could at least look, 'cause especially if they say these products were shipped to Rhode Island or Massachusetts because of the proximity.
And that's an excellent point, because some individuals were saying, I'm only selling this, but again, it's how do you store it, and was it recalled? Or where did you get it? Is it expired? So there's questions that, we're not trying to be that person to say no, but we just have the questions, we just want to make sure everybody's safe.
Another thing I found out was, and I told the gentleman that was, there were two gentlemen chairing this event, they specifically asked each person looking to rent space if they had any kind of food products, and the answers were no. So I think some people don't consider candy a food product. But they said, well, I guess we're gonna have to change our form. And I said, if you show me the form that you use, we can suggest some wording that will specifically define consumables and make it clear. You cannot sell these without a permit. The other thing is dealing with allergens. I don't think all people understand that if you're making baked goods, pots and pans, I don't care how clean they are, if you are using products that are allergic to some, and then you bake something in it that you think contains no nuts, no gluten, no wheat, no whatever other kind of peanuts, allergens, unfortunately, if somebody has an extreme sensitivity, the fact that it may have been in the home where those products are could be dangerous. So we have to be very
That's why we have them
careful.
post that advisory. And the others, we have them get the liability insurance, because that's a big one.
Yeah.
Somebody can get sick and potentially die.
So when, if they do ask for assistance, I'll let you know what that form looks like, and you can take a look and maybe suggest some wording to tighten it up. Is there anything else?
I miss hearing the recalls myself. I used to listen attentively.
Especially if it's Massachusetts, Rhode Island, because a lot of people down here shop over the border. But in any case. So just another word about Mr. Ferry, our highway superintendent. Hey, Tom, if you're watching this, we hope you're feeling better. He's had an extremely bad cold. But we also want to say, great job, everyone on the highway department. I know on Channel 4 tonight, at the end of the article, the comment was made by the two anchors, gee, their roads really look good, look how clean they are. And they interviewed a couple of people at Almeida's. And,
That was on there.
yeah, so that was nice too, they thought that was great. So, so for the people who said something about, we had gotten some feedback, and they said something about good news being in the paper about Dayton. And I had mentioned the Stuff the Cruiser and Tuffy the little train. Well, now we can add the highway department and Mr. Ferry to that good news. It's there's been a lot of publicity, and not that he wants publicity, but anyhow, it is something interesting that a lot of people didn't know about, so it was informative too. Does anybody have anything else?
I do not.
Then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
I second that, Madam Chairman.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion adjourned, meeting adjourns at 7:03, it looks like, 7:02.
Yep. 7:02.
We'll be back at 7:30, folks.
Don't do it out.